how we're going to load the club more in the downswing. Okay, we've often seen a lot of the tall players with this, again, if you like, quote unquote, lag angle as we come down, okay, coming through, and how that releases can then delay the release, reduce the loft, get more shaft lean, hit down the ball more, reduce dynamic loft, all these kind of things, all these really good things are going to kind of get us a really good compressed strike and again a bit more power into our shots. But it's really important that we understand how that's created and we're not, if you like, going down some wrong roads with different concepts of how that's created. All right. Often I've seen a lot of players trying to get here, drive the arms, drive the elbow, get themselves into this position here where they've got to make such a compensation move late just to be able to find the golf ball. There's no way they're going to get a really good impact. All right. So the concept about this is, and you'll see the title of this video, is going to be, let's throw darts, okay, rather than throw axes. Now, what I mean by that is, if this was a dart, okay, and I was on the oche at the alley pally, Christmas time, okay, about to try and throw a 9-darter, I would move my arm this way. I am putting a linear load on the club. My arm is extending, okay, and I'm throwing the club in a straight line. Now, to do that, you'll see how my hand and my fingers have to open and separate to try and keep that going in a straight line, but the arm is extending, okay? It is loading the wrist. The weight is getting pulled backwards, and I'm loading that club to send it off towards the bullseye, all right? Now, if I was on a stag do, we're doing a bit of axe throwing, I would be here and I would be pulling the handle down. I would be pulling downwards on the handle to get some angular movement in the club to then throw the axe towards the bullseye in the target. So two similar games, but very different ways in how we're going to load, okay, the projectile across the room. Now, stick with me here, thinking of this in the golf swing. When we go to the top of the swing, I've seen so many players, as we spoke about, trying to drive the elbow, drive the arm, trying to get the hands more in front of the golf ball here. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm pulling that handle downwards. So what we have to understand is the balance point of the club, or the center of mass, people describe it as, is here. Whatever I do to that end is going to be opposite here. If I pull that handle towards the golf ball, I'm going to cast the club. I'm going to throw it early. So what you're going to find is people trying to pull the arms down, narrow the downswing, get the arm tucked in. I'm going to create that unloading mechanism much earlier. Okay? What we've got to understand is that when we're here, the left arm pivots around the left shoulder, and we're going to create a circle on the way down, not a straight line. And that's really important because we need a force going in line with the club along that circle so that we can throw our dart. The weight of the club gets sort of lagged behind, the angle created at the wrist, but look at what the arm's doing. The arm is actually extending to create the load in the shaft. So now if I start to load the club this way, I've got good length to my right arm. I've got my radius in my swing bag, but I've created the load in the wrist for me to then really easily be able to find the golf ball. All right. So brilliant drill for this, one that I really like. Super simple, okay? Cane. The drill that I absolutely love. Putting the cane on the ball to target line, swinging with the tee in the air hole of the grip, getting the tee to look at the cane on the floor, to work back down at the cane on the floor, down to impact. Brilliant for plane work. But we're going to do it from a face-on perspective now. Because again, this whole dart versus axe, we're going to look at from face-on using this same drill. Now again, if I think about where this tee points from face-on, the tee is going to look at an extended version of that white line. Now, the important thing here is that as I come down, I don't want to try and pull the tee inwards, downwards, in a straight line towards the golf ball, because the tee is going to look back upwards at me too early. What I want to do here is I want to start my downswing there's my dart, keeping the dart looking to the right or the trail side of the golf ball for longer. So as I start down, my body moves, my arms fall, the club comes down into position, but look at the tee is still looking at that white cane, which is this side of the golf ball. Now I get into the delivery position where the tee is looking at where the ball would be. So now I can then unwind into strike and look at how that changes my delivery. If I were to set up here, and this is a drill that I really recommend that I do a lot, about a club width in front of the cane, okay? If I were to get here and I were to pull the tee towards the golf ball, clip the cane, don't hit the ground, thin it off to the left. No bueno, okay? Now, what we want to try and do is, club width in front, is go to the top. And now our concept is our weight shifts to the left, but the tee stays looking at the cane on the floor. I can learn how to load the club in the downswing, create the width back in my right arm, whilst delivering the blow down to the golf ball. So now as I go through, I get a nice strike, I get a low flight, I've missed the cane, and I've delivered this impact here. So it's really important that as golfers and as coaches, we've got to understand that the movements that we make through our body, through our feet, influence the force that we put on the club. That then creates torque around the center of mass, and that's the important bit about how we're going to create that gearing and that load. Okay, we could do all these lovely things with our body, but at the handle, if different things are going on and different forces are happening, we're going to create the wrong move. So you'd often see players driving the body forward, releasing the club early. They just don't go together. So I want you to think about, remember, throw the dart and load the wrist. Don't throw the axe and get the angular work coming first. Use the tee, use the cane, go to the top, get the tee looking at the cane on the right-hand side of the ball as a right-handed golfer for longer as you start down. The tee will then look at the golf ball, which gets the club working nicely down your trail arm, and then from there, you're in position to deliver the blow, all right? So I hope that really helps you understand a bit more about how you're going to create that loading at the wrist rather than unloading the wrist early for those casters of you, okay? Any more questions you've got, please feel free to look or to write a message on the comments, find me on my Instagram page at Toddy Adcock, or find me on Skillist. If you like what I've done here and you like the way we described it and you want to work on your throwing, casting, early release move, reach out to me. Let's work together on Skillist because we can really help you start to create that much more dynamic impact position, okay, rather than unload the club early, throw the axe, and all of a sudden the ball can go anywhere. All right, thanks for watching, and like I say, any help, please feel free to reach out to me. Cheers.